Hello, my name is Mads Peter Iversen. I am a Danish landscape photographer living in Aarhus. This is the third episode of my Photographing Iceland series, and in this episode we are going to Mount Kirkjufell. Seeing and approaching Mount Kirkjufell for the first time, I got that childish excitement about being in a new location which you have only seen in pictures. I also remember the first surprise, thinking that whoa, that mountain is actually really big. Usually you see pictures which has been taken with a very wide angle from Mount Kirkjufell, where you have the Kirkjufellsfoss, the waterfalls in the foreground. And because of the wide angle, the picture gets a bit distorted so that the background is very small and the foreground is very big. So actually when you're there, the mountain seems way bigger than you get the impression from the pictures. In the landscape photography community, Kirkjufell is definitely the most iconic mountain in all of Iceland. It is located by the small town Grundarfjordur in the northern part of the Snæfellsnes Peninsula. Kirkjufell has been used as a backdrop both in Game of Thrones and The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. With the shape of a pyramid, the mountain itself is very photogenic, but it's the entire area which makes this location so special. You have black sand, water for reflections, tall grass, streams, waterfalls, often low-hanging clouds. If it's night, you have the stars and the northern lights. If the weather is bad, you'll probably not have to wait for long before it changes. In the summertime, the sun sets and rises behind the mountain, which makes for some incredible golden hour photos. Kirkjufell is a buffet of amazing compositions and lighting. For that iconic shot of Kirkjufellsfoss with Kirkjufell in the background, you will need a pretty wide angle lens, like you can do with a 16mm, but if you have a 14mm you will be way better off. When you have got your iconic shot, I highly recommend you to explore the area. There is so many other compositions. I have been to Kirkjufell on several occasions and I don't want to just reproduce my work. So this time I came up with an idea of the Lonely Mountain. On that day when we were there, the wind was blowing very strong and I could see the tall grass were bending a lot in the wind. So in this case, with the wind in my back, I could use the grass as a foreground with leading lines pointing towards the mountain. Now I went for a very minimalistic look, so I wanted the sky to be completely blown out so that I would get a high-key landscape photo. A thing to notice is that there's probably a lot of photographers at Kirkjufell, and if you don't want to photograph in a location where there's a lot of other photographers, around town there's a lot of other opportunities to take some incredible photos. Now just east of the town you will find a waterfall called Grundarfoss. It's rather easy to get to, just park the car at the parking lot and then follow the paths. Now when you're nearing the waterfall, don't follow the water, follow the paths in the grass up the hill, because the slopes get rather steep and it's very easy to slip. You should turn right up the hill and follow the side of the cliffs on top before you get to this view. The entire area under the waterfall of Grundarfoss is rather slippery. It's probably the most slippery place I have been to in Iceland. Going to Grundarfoss and taking pictures and returning to the car takes around 1 to 1.5 hours. Just west of town, but before Kirkjufell, there's another waterfall up a hillside. You will have to hike up there and cross a fence, but it's definitely worth going up there. It's a very minimalistic, but also rather large waterfall. Taking the road further past Kirkjufell towards Solstice, there's a lot of other waterfalls to photograph. I actually got one of my favorite photographs on that road. This photo was taken during summer and nighttime in Iceland, which is actually very bright because the sun doesn't dip very low behind the horizon. So you actually have 3-4 hours of blue hour. Because of that blue hour light, I could rather easily get a long exposure without using neutral density filters. Thanks so much for watching. If you like these videos and want to support it, you can click the like button just underneath here, and you can subscribe to my channel if you want to see even more. In the next episode we are going to the mighty cliffs of Reynistranka, which is located just south of Vik in the southern part of Iceland.